afternoon. I'm so excited because today we are talking about shadow AI. I am Abby Hanson. I'm the Chief Digital Business Officer here at Razor Technology. And today I have Jay with me. Jay, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Jay Gagne, Chief Architect at Razor Technology.
Fantastic. Great to see you, Jay. I know a lot lately. We've been having a ton of conversations around shadow AI to the point that we've both kind of gotten a little green in the face when customers have been saying to us, yeah, we let people run free tools. So, what is shadow AI?
So, simply put, Shadow AI is kind of like Shadow IT in that it's the use of non-sanctioned, visible, governed tools in an environment. In this case, AI specific.
Yeah, and it's people are like, do you know like the free tools? So name some free tools people might be using when it comes to shadow AI.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot. Everybody knows the Chat GPTs and the Claudes of the world, and all of the other ones. You've got Gemini, Grok, etc., that are maybe not as well known, but are certainly out there and certainly being leveraged. But Shadow AI goes one step further because it really is anything that is leveraging an AI model. So there's browser extensions, there's every little AI agent, the ones that jump on a conference call and record the conference call that look like a kind of like a user. So there's a lot of different tools that leverage AI that become part of that. The big easy targets are the chat-based ones like ChatGPT and Claude. But it goes deeper than that.
So, and you just mentioned something like those free AI tools that jump into our Microsoft Teams or Zoom meetings, right? Those scare me because I don't know where they're coming from. I
Yep.
immediately delete them from the meeting because if it's my meeting, they're not allowed. So
Yep.
I want the real person there. So
Yep.
that's
We responsibly record the meeting and we'll get you a copy if you need it.
right. No, absolutely. So you talked a little bit about shadow IT, right?
Yep.
Is this the same thing with shadow AI or how are they different?
It's a little different. Shadow IT was a bit more of kind of like the rogue tools, which you can put AI in that category. But it was also the rogue group of people inside a business unit that were doing part of IT's job, but they were just keeping it inside a business unit instead of inside the IT organization. So this one is specific. It's you know uh, AI, which brings that extra level of concern because it's not a human. Where Shadow IT, yeah, you were probably using tools, but it was a human using a tool. So now because we're in the dawn of computers thinking for themselves, it kind of notches it up a level because we all know, at least I know, AI is not always right. In fact, it's wrong a lot. And if you're not careful, it could be wrong in a bad way that can do you personal harm, but certainly a company personal harm or a company harm. It's a lot of risk.
Yeah. And I know it's not coming from like bad intent from that perspective, and people are using these free tools because they don't know any better. But why do you think they're turning to unsanctioned AI tools in their environment?
Yeah, so there's a couple of reasons. One, more than likely, the organization isn't supplying them with a tool. Well, let's face it, those of us that use AI love AI because it does that thing that it's supposed to do, which makes my life a little easier. Hey, I don't have to go through and do a crazy spreadsheet with all kinds of VLOOKUPs and things that I can do, but I know how long that takes. No different than a coder. Uh, Coders know what they're doing, but it takes a long time. That's a lot of typing. Where we're leveraging AI to do some of that, it's a lot faster. Now, you still have to go back and make sure the code works and test it, and and all of that, just like you have to make sure the spreadsheet works. But it saves you time. That's why we all want to use AI. And so, if the organization isn't supplying a tool that gets the job done, hey, we all, the tools are out there. And so we're using them. We're inviting that note-taking agent because our company doesn't have a tool for us to, recap the meeting and take the notes. We're going out to ChatGPT and Claude and we're pasting in information to get them to summarize or reword or draft an email or whatever the case is. And it usually comes down to the company not supplying, or the company, having a tool, but everybody wants to go use the cool, flashy, Claude like tool now, and there isn't any governance in place that is allowing, or blocking users from doing it.
Yeah, you nailed it right there. So Shadow AI is revealing the disconnect between how fast business is going, right?
Yep.
We hear that technology is moving faster than us every single day, and how we're adapting our governance internally at organizations, it's not moving quick enough. And so when we look at it from that perspective, let's go ahead and shift into risk, because that's where the conversation tends to go when it gets to be more urgent, right? And we hear those stories all the time of the free tools. And I'll sit in a conversation with a customer and I'll be like, do you have free tools in your environment? And everybody will say no. And then you say, hey, Siri, and believe it or not, Siri on your cell phone is an AI tool, right? My daughter uses Snapchat AI to do her homework, right? She shouldn't be, because we don't know if the information is going to be right, but it's happening. Then you take that company information, you put it in the free tool, and it goes out to the World Wide Web. You don't know where it's hitting. And so that's the scary part. So when we think about the biggest risks that leaders think they're dealing with, what are they actually missing?
So when it comes to AI, so everything you just said it's so relevant. The risk is if you go out and look up, even use AI to look up, what's going on in the world of shadow IT or litigation that's out there, or where is the risk of using AI? There's so many examples. Some haven't been taken all the way through the courts, but some have, and so you're looking at things like loss of your intellectual property. If you're using the tool and you're putting proprietary information into the tool, it's now out there. And I think the other piece is people are under a misconception that, okay, the free ones, we all get it. If I'm just going to ChatGPT and I don't log in, I think everybody probably realizes you have no control over what happens to that data. But the next level of that is you can subscribe. I subscribe to ChatGPT and Claude. I pay my $20 a month and I have the Pro or Plus version. And I think a lot of people, I know a lot of people are under the misconception that reduces their risk. And the answer really is no, it doesn't. That is a personal account. There was no contract associated with it. There was no, indemnification negotiated. There's no, BAA. All it really is giving you. It's more about giving you the features, giving you, more access to GPT and Claude, et cetera, than it is supplying any better adherence to or reduction of risk for a company.
You just nailed it. It's about the features, about more tokens. It's about that. And I don't think what customers are thinking about is if it's an enterprise level, it's protected inside your organization. Those $20 more feature ones, they're not protected. And so you need to really make sure things are safe, right? We've had conversations with healthcare companies, legal, finance, and they all have these free tools and their security isn't where it needs to be. And I think at Razor, that's where we're like, oh my gosh, stop right now. Let us talk to the people that are making these decisions so that we can help you. And, since the war started, phishing attempts, hacking attempts, they've gone up by over 300%, right?
Yep.
Those attempts are coming in through invalid links in your AI chat.
Yep.
And people are clicking on it, and that's exposing your network. And so these are things to think about. Um, what point does this move from an IT issue to a business risk or even a board level concern?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, when AI was introduced is when it became a risk. And I think, there are organizations that are doing it right, and you have to break it up into, into pieces. At first, it's the awareness that you have to get out there. You have to have an acceptable AI use policy that says, here are the tools that we want you to use, and here are the tools that we don't want you to use. Then you have the governance portion of that, which is, okay, if I tell you not to use something, I also have to be able to have the visibility to see if you do, if there isn't a way for me, and for some companies there isn't, I can't just block access to all of these tools out there because there's more and more of them every day. But I should have the visibility to see, what people have access to, and then have the ability to react if there is something that happens. And a lot of organizations aren't there yet. A lot don't even have the policy part yet, but almost no one has the real end-to-end, policy and protection and visibility and governance and remediation and response.
Mhm.
It's, and at the end of the day, that's the thing that makes us go, oh, and the stats are crazy. And at the end of the day, let's if I'm being honest, and I think if everybody's honest, the stat was 77%, and I would argue that it's even higher, of people that have used one of those free tools and put company information in. I'm guilty right here. Now, I didn't put anything that was really sensitive information, but I put stuff in because it was going to help me get, this piece of work done faster. And that doesn't make it right. It really was wrong, but you want to know, it absolutely was, because we didn't have I didn't have access to a tool that would do that. It wasn't being provided to me.
Mhm.
So, at the end of the day, it's totally understandable why people are doing it. And I agree, no one's doing it maliciously, but they're doing it. So, most organizations are still, in that crawl part of the crawl, walk, run phase of AI adoption and risk management. And it's time to step it up, because like you said, the attacks are coming faster, and they're getting smarter. And, it's time to make sure that you're buttoned up. I think everybody's, right now, I feel like AI is more of a personal thing. People, even when we talk to the CEO of a company, they want AI to work for them, and maybe not the entire organization. And selfishly, most people are like, well, how can AI make my job, make my life easier and better, as opposed to, what can we do for the whole organization? And
It
it's
makes Yeah, it makes me think about it like AI is a team sport. It's not a me sport, right?
it, it
And it comes down to like business process and driving business outcome, and that's why I think so many shadow AI tools are in place. And we think about ban versus enable, and you kind of touched on a little bit. You can't just say shut it down. You first need to know what's out there, right? And if you do an assessment, okay, we see Claude, we see GPT, we see all these different tools that are out there that are the free ones. Maybe those are the tools that they're used to using, but now let's get them into the enterprise version. Let's enable them. Let's take away the risk, right? Because it doesn't really reduce the risk, because I think sometimes people are going to do it anyway. They're going to do it on their personal computer, and then you're still taking company data and you're moving it out there. So you rose your hand on that a little bit. So
it's obvious that we're both passionate about this. The other part, no matter what, I think you have to put in the education, People have to be educated in AI in general because, there's a lot of people, and I've heard it from, wealth management companies, that are writing their own software, and they're not coders. So they're really judging the outcome based on what they think. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I asked it to do that and it gave me this as an answer, and yeah, that feels pretty good. But they don't have the experience to go through the code and see if it really did what it was asking it to do. And so you're taking it on faith, and let's face it, AI lies. AI wants to make you happy. I shared with you, I put AI to a test. I did a really simple prompt and said, hey, go look in these files and tell me if this exists here, there. And it came back and said, yeah, you're all good. Everything matches up the way it should. And I knew that it didn't. I planted something in the file. And then I said, hey, why didn't you find this one? And it came back very honestly at that point and said, yeah, I should have done that, but I just, gave you a green checkbox in a pretty little table as if I did the work, but I couldn't open the file, and AI will do that. If you don't create a prompt that protects you from that, or ask that follow-up question of, hey, are you sure? Go back and check your facts. If you just believe the first thing that comes out of AI, chances are it's not 100% accurate. In fact, it might be 100% inaccurate.
Right. Oh my gosh, we could talk about this forever, and we're almost to the end of time. And with that, we're going to be having a user group this month in June and talking all about shadow AI. So we'll make sure to put the link in here as well. But a couple of rapid fire questions for you. We've learned don't have the free tools. If you put a company information in there, free tools goes out to the web, right? Security risks, phishing, hacking attempts, things happen through AI, right? Protect yourselves. So rapid fire questions, quick answers to end our conversation.
Sure.
What's one thing every executive should understand about shadow AI right now?
It's happening in your company.
Yes, that's good. What's one mistake organizations are making today?
Trusting that people are doing the right thing.
They're not doing the right thing. Oh my gosh.
They're not maliciously, but they're not doing the right thing.
I know. Let's stay safe, people. Okay. And if someone takes one action this quarter, what should it be?
Create an acceptable use policy with the governance and the remediation plan in place now.
Yes, I totally agree. That is awesome. So I think the key takeaway here is shadow AI isn't just a risk to eliminate. It's a signal. It's happening. There's multiple tools in the environment. It's a signal that your people are innovating. So embrace the innovation because it's going to move your company forward, but do it the right way. They're already experimenting.
Exactly. People want to use it. They're showing you by using it unofficially. Give them the tool officially that protects you, increases that productivity that everybody's looking for, just does it safely.
Absolutely. And the organizations that want to win with AI, don't shut it down, embrace it, but do it in a safe way. That's the one, that's where AI, it's going to bring light. Put guardrails in place, the right governance, and have the right mindset. Well, Jay, I thank you so much for jumping on this podcast with me today. I love having conversations with you. We're constantly innovating and going back and forth. But if you want to explore more with us, set up a call with Jay or I. Let's talk about it. Let's make you look like the hero at your organization. I'm Abby Hanson, Chief Digital Business Officer here at Razor Technology. Join us this month for our June user group or connect with us offline. We'd love to have the conversation. Thanks so much and have a great day.
Bye.